Angry Guy here, and Dylan Mulvaney. Did I get his name right? I feel like I want to pronounce his name wrong. Anyway, Dylan Mulvaney is the future of the West. I feel like this is going to be a shorter video. Guys, so before we get started, just remember to like, share, and subscribe for more great Angry Guy content. And you can find exclusive videos as well as early access to these videos via Patreon. So go over there, check that out. There's all these amazing tiers. Today we're talking about Dylan Mulvaney and why Dylan is the future of the West. If you don't know who Dylan Mulvaney is, he is a transgender, I guess you could call him activist who is currently transitioning. And I want to show you this. I want you guys to see this. I want you to have a look at this, what's actually happening. So, Dylan actually had facial surgery recently, and these are the results of Dylan's facial surgery. And I mean, just check this out.
Go on record to say that this might be the hottest I've ever looked and will ever look in my lifetime.
And if you look at Candace's, this is Dylan right here. But if you look at Candace Owens' face, you can look at the disgust, the sadness, the misery in her face, because people don't. She looks like she wants to cry, and it's amazing that modern day women don't seem to realize what they are losing. They have pushed men so far to the limit that men no longer want to be men. Men are choosing to basically become women. They're putting on dresses, they're putting on makeup, they're transitioning, they're changing their bodies. I said this already about Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner was only became Caitlyn after Bruce felt alienated, because Bruce Jenner was basically it's like Bruce Jenner was the man, for a long time. Back in the '80s, Dave Chappelle said it like this guy was beating Africans, like he was the great American white hope. This guy was he was top notch. Unless if you were in a room at any given point in the '90s, unless Michael Jordan was in there, all eyes were on Bruce Jenner. That was pretty much it. Unless you were Michael Jordan, all eyes were on Bruce Jenner because he was that dude. And then, years later, he marries Kim Kardashian's mother. This is after his second. This is his second marriage, I think, because he had another marriage before that. I don't know if he had another one before that, also for that one, but he had a first. He has a first set of kids that are grown. Then he marries Kim Kardashian's mother, and they have Chloe, and I believe it's Kendall, and not Chloe. What am I saying? Oh my gosh, they have Kylie, and Kendall Jenner. I believe those are the names, and he helps raise Kim and Chloe and the other one. I can't remember her name. I can't remember all of them. Like that just shows you that just shows you how closely I watched the Kardashians. And now those girls are like, in their 20s. And the crazy thing is like what's his name? What's her name? Caitlyn is like, well, at the time Bruce was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore because I'm looking around and I'm not the most famous person in the room anymore. Everyone's worshiping my daughters, everyone's even worshiping my wife, but they're not paying any attention to me. And suddenly Bruce decides that, you know what? I've always been a woman. I've always known in my heart that I'm a woman. And he literally transitions and becomes Caitlyn Jenner. And the interesting thing about it is, evidently, Bruce is still sexually attracted to women. So now he's or she's a lesbian. And I've personally felt that like a lot of this was because he was no longer the most famous person in the room, and I think that a lot of this was jealousy. And I might be wrong. I don't know everything about. I can't, like I said, I can't say everything I want to say here, but it's just like this type of shit is just insane. And now you have Dylan Mulvaney basically transitioning and like showing like, I mean, let's finish the video.
And I'm making this video so that in thousands of years, there will be evidence. Is it the dress? It could be the dress. Is it the makeup? Or is it the hair? Because I think it's the extensions. And when I have extensions in, I don't know my name. I don't know where I live. I just know that I love these. And I know that I look like I could steal a husband, but I want to promise you, look me in the eyes. I want to promise you that I would never do that to you.
Well, Dylan Mulvaney is correct about one thing. There will, in fact, in 1,000 years, be evidence because of videos like this, evidence of why Western civilization failed, because we have denigrated man to the point of abolition. Why would you want to be a man?
I wanted to go.
Why would you want to be a man? And that's really where we're at right now. Men no longer want to be men. Men have been literally relegated to a place where they're saying, you know what? It's better for me to just say, call this quits. It's better for me to just say, you know what? Maybe I'll transition. Because it's either one of two things. Either men are walking away from Western society, as we're seeing with the passport bro movement, and just men in general distancing themselves from the social norms and the toxicity of modern day society, or are they basically just changing themselves, becoming women, transitioning, putting on dresses, basically saying, okay, fine, I surrender. Now you have boys that are crying, that cannot control their emotions anymore, and you have and there are plenty of men who can't control their emotions, and you find, just like Andrew Tate said, you have prisons, you have you have hospitals, and you have morgues and cemeteries filled with men who cannot control their emotions. And this is what society has created, has done to men. They don't want men who are strong and able to control their emotions. They call it repressing, but it's not always repressing. It's very often it's men. Men have to control their emotions. If men don't control their emotions, then they act like Vulcans. Like, do you remember, like, Star Trek, what Vulcans actually look like when they cannot control their emotions? They were a group of warriors. Like, they would go absolutely ballistic and start destroying their society. And it's kind of interesting because men, to some degree, are kind of like Vulcans. We have the ability to control our emotions and to repress certain things. And it's like people say, well, that's not healthy. Well, it depends, because we express ourselves in different ways. But breaking down and crying, we know that we cannot solve things like that because it's illogical, right? Because we're very logical beings. As men, we're very logical. Even the dumbest guy has has some rationality to him. I mean, when you're dealing with really, really dumb people, though, like really dumb people, like those are people that just act out, and these are the people that destroy society. And these are the people that are in hospitals and in cemeteries, and they're in hospitals, they're in prisons, hospitals, morgues, cemeteries. There are a ton of these people in there, and this is where Western society is heading. Dragging men down, creating men that cannot hold up society, but will pull society down. And you know, this thing with Dylan Mulvaney, I'm not criticizing Dylan. Dylan should live the life he or she chooses to live, whatever. But I'm just pointing it out that men are, men. This is another form of walking away, like walking away from masculinity, and it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Like, this is what's happening, and that's why you have the walk away movement with men that are walking away from all of this, saying, you know what, I don't want to be a part of the social decay in society anymore, and I'm walking away from all of this. I'm taking my masculinity with me. I'm taking my money with me. I'm taking my skill set with me, and I'm going on my own. Anyway, guys, that's everything I have for you. Let me know if you agree that Dylan Mulvaney is the future of the West. Go ahead and hit the like button if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video. And just remember, all roads lead to MWA, which is men walking away. And cheers.